this life, to use it for the best, to help others.
How does Johnny manage his time?
Well, you got to keep your work time and your life time separate.
Make a stone wall, right?
Basically, yeah. Leave work at work, and home is home, right?
If you're doing something you enjoy, time seems to last longer, maybe.
We think about it every day. It's more important than money. It's more precious.
Is your watch in 12-hour or 24 hours?
In Holland, it's 24 hours, but in...
So it's like you have more time then?
Now, you do more.
It's just wonderful.
Best time is living your life to the best possible options you have and enjoy it. Enjoy your life.
Thanks for spending some time with me, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
I love it. We're going deep with Greg, the quirky camera guy. That's a really deep question. I mean, I think about time and I think about how I just don't have enough time or feel like I don't have enough time, right? Like midnight comes and you're like, but I still have a million things to do. I guess I have to go to sleep.
Well, that's, yeah, and you have to, you feel like you're wasting time by sleeping, but I'd say I'm kind of addicted to time.
What does that mean?
Well, I'm always looking at my watch, I'm always looking at my phone to see what time it is.
Does that mean that you're driven by time instead of you controlling the time that you spend?
Yeah, that's I think hopefully I'm trying to manage my time.
Yeah.
But if I go to the gym and okay, 35 minutes, I get on that machine and away I go.
Yeah.
And just everything is, maybe it's because I travel a lot. I'm checking, to make sure the flights are on time. But, as I was listening to Greg's piece there, again, I'm thinking when it comes to time, it's just this really strange thing, especially when you think of time in light of eternity.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to be in, we've been there 10,000 years, Amazing Grace. I think 10,000 years. I can't even get my head around that. Anyway.
It's a deep concept. We hope that you've been challenged by Greg, the quirky camera guy today. We have a great power-packed program.
We do.
Hollywood producer Devon Franklin shares about his newest film, Project Breakthrough.
I'm looking so forward to that interview and that movie. And former Olympian high jumper Jamie Nieto, and he says your only limitations are what you believe them to be. We'll hear his inspiration in his story just coming up in a few moments from right now.
Yeah, and a few months back, I got to visit the set of Breakthrough in Winnipeg, our own country here. And it's an inspiring movie based on the true story of a mother's unfaltering faith and love in the face of impossible odds. Let's take a look.
Boys, get off the ice!
We're training for the Olympics, sir!
During the filming of Breakthrough, I had the opportunity to sit down and talk with Hollywood movie producer Devon Franklin, best known for films like Miracles from Heaven and Heaven is for Real. We talked about his inspiration for making this movie. Devon, what was it about the Smiths that captured you?
Their honesty and their transparency and just the power. Joyce is a force of nature. So meeting her, I was just immediately compelled, by her story. And then what was so interesting is like, okay, here's Joyce, an older white woman, and here's John, this young Latino kid. I'm like, what's going on here? And then Pastor Jason is like, okay, wait a minute, is this some new kind of blended family? What is this? And so to hear their stories and to hear how each one, was a part of it, it just was like, okay, I gotta find a way to make this story because it's just too unique.
In the water that day, I was ready to give up, but then I hear this voice telling me, go back. Either I'm nuts or God's talking to you. But I don't believe in God. I hope he's gonna be okay.
We're not gonna get through this alone.
When you heard this story, you probably thought, why isn't this movie already? Probably A. And like, how could this happen? Am I putting words in your mouth or is...
No, I didn't think why, how come it's not a movie yet?
Yeah.
Because I was like, if they're talking, I know no one's found the story.
Yeah.
Because I knew it hadn't really, people knew about it when it first happened, but I knew that this hadn't been out there in a way, because all people heard was that Joyce prayed John back to life initially, but there was so much more to the story. So I knew once I started hearing more of the story, I said, oh, nobody has this. So I was quick to try to put it together. The other part was, when I heard it, I just felt like, oh man, this has got to be told. I've just never experienced this type of story before. I've never heard of anyone, going into, a hospital room and praying someone back to life.
No. Please, God, send your Holy Spirit to save my son.
I've never heard this before. And so I'm like, is this true? And then Pastor Jason sent me videos, and I looked at the research material, and I'm like, man, this is real. And Pastor Sam, you know, who was the host of the TBN program where I met the Smith family and Pastor Jason as well, you know, he said, man, this is an amazing story. You got to make the movie. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so here we are 2 years later, and we're in production, about halfway through the film. And that is just, it's remarkable.
Yeah. Do you think in this day and age that miracles are hard to believe?
No, I think miracles are easy to believe. I think it's just a matter of perspective. What happens is we get into life, we get so frustrated, we get caught up in the hustle and bustle that we overlook the miracle. We woke up. That's a miracle. I don't have to consciously think about breathing. I'm not connected to a machine that's breathing for me. Miraculous. So too often we get caught up so much in the minutia of life that it becomes a block to seeing miracles that are right before us. Every day we got them. Every day we experience it. In Miracles from Heaven, the film that I did, last live action film I produced, you know, there was a quote we used in the film. I believe it was from Einstein. You know, to those that believe, everything is a miracle. To those that don't, nothing is. So I want to be on the side of believing so I can see the miracles every day.
And there is a trend in the movies that you gravitate to.
Yeah, yeah.
And is that your way of saying, yeah, world, wake up, there is hope? That there is
without
God?
a doubt, without a doubt. It's like, you know, world, wake up, there's hope, there's love, and there's God. I want to, in films like this, when they're true stories, you know, true stories of faith, I want to make the case for God. You know, not that God needs me to be his attorney, right? He's good. However, I do think that people turn to entertainment for inspiration, information, and I do think that, you know, me having the opportunity to be a part of the entertainment community and have the ability to bring content to the theater, I take that very seriously. And content to the small screen, I take it very seriously. And so I like to make films that the skeptic will say, man, I don't know. Okay, Devon, you know, I know you were involved in Heaven's for Real, but okay, I don't believe that. Okay, Miracles from Heaven, I don't know how she got cured when she fell down the tree, but nah, I don't think so. Ah, man, but man, I mean, wow, I mean, the kid is alive. You know, I saw the medical record, you know, he was dead, and the mother did pray him back to life. Maybe there's something to that. So it's about just being consistent, making the case, so that the person that didn't want to believe is compelled to do nothing but believe.
I don't believe John will survive the night.
You don't know my son. He is a fighter. So I need you to be the best for John, and you just let God do the rest.
Wow, I am so excited for that movie. You know, I think Breakthrough really is a really good reminder, you know, that faith and love create hope, and sometimes even a miracle. So, Devon, what was he like?
Yeah, he was great. We've had him on the show, as you would know, a couple of times, and Devon is passionate about this film. We got to, as I said, meet with him in Winnipeg. You'll see some photos there. There's behind the scenes with a director who's a woman. I can't remember her name right now, but she was doing an amazing job, as well as there's a picture of Lecrae. Lecrae makes an appearance in the film, as well as Phil Wickham, and so there we are. Again, it was a great experience, and look forward to this film come Easter. Talk about an amazing real story that just happened a couple of years ago and has made it to the big screen. So this Easter.
And as a bonus, it was shot, as you mentioned, in the
Winnipeg.
great state of Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have more of 100 Huntley Street right after these messages.
It was always like, instead of why me, how come, and pitying whatever happened, it was more so, you know, I got to be positive. I got to go after this. I'm gonna walk again. I'm gonna run again.
We got a great show, guys. Lots to fit in, but we're gonna do it in 3, 2.
We are in the business of delivering hope every single day.
When you watch 100 Huntley Street, you're going to hear stories of transformation, great Bible teaching, people who have been changed by God, and people who are changing the world for God.
Greg, your guest, amazing.
It's one of those stories you wouldn't believe until you actually hear it.
I think 100 Huntley Street is for everyone. I think everyone has gone through times of loss. Everyone is looking for hope. Everyone's looking for purpose.
100 Huntley Street is the longest running daily television show in Canada and has literally changed generations. It's a two-way experience. 100 Huntley Street is not paid for by advertisers. It's the people across Canada, partners that are giving to this ministry.
Today, I'm going to bring you a story of someone whose life was transformed while on the show.
The proof that this ministry is really making a difference is the people that we hear from. 1,200
people a day call us for prayer, and we know that they're facing the end of their marriage. We know that they're facing their kids in crisis, a mental health issue or a job loss, financial challenges, health challenges. And they talk about how their lives are being transformed by God's love through this program.
That's really what gives us that strength to continue on.
What motivates me is the fact that Jesus has done so much in my life. And I know of friends and family who have been transformed by Jesus. This is the reason why I love being a part of this ministry, is because Jesus is the hope.
We are 100% viewer supported. We are so passionate about this media mission of bringing the message of Jesus coast to coast across Canada. We cannot do it without you. Would you please consider supporting this vital media mission? You can give online at crossroads.ca/donate or call us at 1-800-265-3100.
There are people you meet in life that seem to be ready for any challenge that comes their way, no matter how big. Recently, former Olympian Jamie Nieto talked with Maggie about the challenges of high jumping, acting, and overcoming a life-threatening accident. Here's their conversation.
So Jamie, thanks for joining us today. So I have here 4-time U.S. high jump champion, 2-time Olympian. Did you expect all of the success to come?
No. I was just having fun at first, and then in junior college, it was like a progression. It was like, okay, I want to try to get a scholarship, you know, and my mom couldn't afford to send me to school, so that ended up happening, and I jumped a little higher and kept jumping a little higher. And then when I got to Eastern Michigan University, I didn't do as well as I wanted to the first season, and then I really committed myself even more, and you know, got down on my hands and knees and prayed even more, and things started to happen that next year, and I was All-American and a bunch of other stats that I put up on the board, but no big deal.
You're being very humble. I mean, being a 2-time Olympian is a pretty big feat.
Yeah.
And then decided to retire and got into acting, coaching as well. Why make that change?
Well, you know, I always wanted to be an actor, and I was always afraid to tell people I wanted to do it because I was afraid that people would discourage me from trying to be an actor. And then I look back at my career, and in 2004, I made the Olympic team, and I was thinking, you know, a lot of people discouraged me from doing track and field. A lot of people told me that, you know, it's really hard to make the Olympic team. Are you sure you can do it? I don't think you can do it, or you'll never be an Olympian. And you know, to those people who discouraged me, it made me think, well, what's stopping me from pursuing my dream as an actor, writer, producer? You know, nothing. So I went after it, and not right away. In 2008, as I started seeing the end of my career kind of come, I was like, I need to start setting myself up for something. And in 2007, I did some short films, and in 2008, got in some acting classes and did some bunch of auditioning, and then I think 2009 is when I met David, and he seen me in an acting class.
David White.
David White, yes. He seen me in an acting class, and he was like, hey, I got this film out in Michigan. You want to come and do it? And I was like I was going to say no. I was like, yeah. And so I went out there, and we did a film called Jerusalem Countdown. And it was a small part, but it was really fun. I enjoyed it. And he said, you know what, don't worry, I got something even better for you. And I wasn't sure, and I was like, I didn't know him very well, so I was like, okay, you know, maybe if he calls me, great. If not, it's okay. I had a great time. Well, literally like a couple months later, he called me and was like, hey, I got this other script for you. It's called The Encounter. And I was like, he was like, read through it and let me know if you want to do it. I was like, yes, before he even sent me the script. I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah. But he sent it to me, and it was a blast, and we ended up filming The Encounter, and The Encounter did really well. And they went on and made more movies and TV shows after the show. So.
Not just little well, really, really, really well.
Yeah.
And then April 23rd, 2016, your life changed.
22nd, I believe, but yes, 22nd. It did. I was coaching, and I was just working with some, Olympic hopefuls, and we were doing some training routine stuff that day, and I was showing them some drills, and in my career, I've done hundreds of backflips after I've won competitions or just finished competitions. And I did a backflip, and my foot slipped. I was on some AstroTurf, and my foot slipped, and I went from my feet straight to my head. And as my body kind of went limp, the first thing I heard was, "Don't worry, you just have to go through this. You'll be all right." Wow. And I thought, what the heck is that? And then I started trying to feel my legs and arms. I was like, oh my God, don't let me be paralyzed. And I was from the chest down, and it was very scary. And then all these, like, my life kind of flashed before my eyes, kind of thing. And what would my life be, and what's going to happen? And and it was just a really traumatic experience. And luckily some of the athletes that were there were faith-based people and Christian athletes, and they prayed for me right away. They pulled out their Bibles and prayed for me, and I thank God that I'm here today, because something like that, the slightest left, right, a little more pressure, I might not have been here today. So.
What was your conversation with God like during those early days, Jamie?
It was tough. God kept me positive, though, more than anything.
Did you ever ask why?
No, I never asked why. I think for me, and I think with track and field, it always taught me that, when you lose a competition, you figure out, okay, what could I have done better? Or how do I do better next time, And at the point in time when this had already happened, for me, it was more so like, okay, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get back to my normal life? How am I going to get my strength and moving again, And so that was my hope. Like, it was always like, instead of why me, how come, and pitying whatever happened, it was more so, I got to be positive. I got to go after this. I'm gonna walk again. I'm gonna run again. Those type of thoughts came to my head. So, and I turned to God a lot of times when I was frustrated or irritated because I couldn't do something, because things weren't as easy as they used to be, and God helped me out. I would just take 5-10 minutes and just speak to Him out loud and just pray, and I felt better after that. Yeah. So, yeah.
The doctors said 30% chance of functionality after your accident.
Right.
But you were focused on being able to walk again.
Yeah. I'm focused on 100% recovery.
Yeah.
So, they told my wife that. At the time was my fiance, and she said, no, we're not accepting that. We're going to be 100% again. And when she told me, I said, yeah, I'm going to make a full recovery. It might take some time, but I got God on my side, and I know He's going to see me through this. Well, actually, 6 months later, I was back on my feet, and then maybe a year later, I was walking again, taking like small steps, and then in July of last year, 2017, I was able to walk my wife.
I was going to say, you can't forget that date. That's the most important date.
I was able to walk my wife down the aisle, which was a beautiful thing.
And what did the doctors say today?
It was interesting. I told you I was working on another TV show, and they had a dinner, and it was just the writers, and it was at Buca di Beppo in Pasadena, close to where I live. And right at the next table over were a bunch of people, and I didn't know who they were. And as I got up and I, got my forearm crutches, was getting ready to leave, they stopped me and they said, "Hey, aren't you Jamie Nieto?" And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I am. And they're like, "We were in the ICU when you got hurt. This whole table here is everybody who's working in the ICU. We know your story. We know who you are." And one of the ladies was crying. She saw me standing on my feet. She was like, "I can't believe you've come this far." And she said, "You have to come back." I said, "Yeah, when I got hurt, I told you I'm going to come back when I'm running again. I'm not quite there yet, but I will be back. And I hope you guys are still there, Wow. Yeah, so it was an amazing experience, but it was nice that they were able to see me. So, but on my other doctors, my other doctors who are kind of seeing me progress, they're very happy. They're like, "Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it." And I'm like, prayer and hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. You are a walking miracle.
Amen. Yes.
Thank you, Jamie, for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
Boy, I like his attitude. Very, very positive.
And God's great. Like, that's an amazing story.
The people at the table going, "We know that story." And then to see the
Miracles happen every day.
Miracles happened. And, there was his part. He did what he had to do. God was obviously involved. And, maybe you're going through a sickness. You've had an injury that has really been difficult for you to try to overcome. Well, no, there are people on the other side of the prayer line at 1-866-273-4444. Call anytime, or you can email us at prayer@crossroads.ca. We'll have more of 100 Huntley Street right after this.
My dad always wanted me to become an evangelist. To say, okay, Dad, I want to now leave Bible school and go to Hollywood to be an actor, it doesn't really bode well in your mind, in your heart, and, how in the world could that be from the Lord?
Psalms almost is riding with us in the spiritual roller coaster of life that we all go through, right? We are on the mountaintop, we're in the valley, we're up and we're down, we're encouraged, we're discouraged. And the Psalms it's almost like, in a way, it's like a doctor that walks beside you every day, and whatever you have to be going through, there's a song and a song for that particular situation. And one of the things the Psalms help us to remember is even the great heroes of the Bible, Abraham, Moses, Jacob, Joseph, David, they were just like us. They went through the same stuff then that we go through now, and I think that's why there's such a magnetic attraction to this great book.
And we're so excited to partner with you to make this available.
Well, to all of our Crossroad partners and to those who watch this ministry on a regular basis, because of the generosity of Crossroads, we would like to give you a complimentary copy. The truth you will find in this book that comes right out of the book of Psalms will radically change your life, and we would like to send you a copy today.
Call now with your donation and request your copy of 52 Weeks Through the Psalms devotional by Dr. James Merritt. 1-800-265-3100 or make your donation at crossroads.ca/donate. As you begin this new year, what better time is there to be refreshed in the Psalms? This one-year daily devotional will help you dive into God's Word, hit reset on a fresh new year, and enrich your relationship with God as you find new reasons to come before Him in prayer and praise. This book is our thanks to you for your ministry support, which funds this daily program and our 24/7 prayer lines. Thank you. With your gift of $45 or more, we would love to send you this great devotional to start the year off strong in the wisdom of the Psalms. Call 1-800-265-3100 or visit crossroads.ca/donate.
Happy New Year! This week we're reflecting on purpose and destiny. And yesterday we looked at Sarah's story, that nothing is impossible for God. And many people want to know if nothing is impossible for God, then He can make out of me what He pleases. I don't really have to do much. But the reality is that God gave us the greatest privilege as human beings, and that's the ability to choose. And yet God wants totality of our lives. You may agree, but you still want to know why. The answer is found in John 7:16-17, where Jesus said, "My teaching is not mine, but it's His who sent me. If any man is willing to do His will, he shall know of the teaching, whether it is of God or whether I speak from myself." The mistake we make in seeking God's will is that we want to know His will, but we don't necessarily want to do His will. So, full disclosure here, this is my story, and you may find it similar to yours as well. I do not see myself doing anything else apart from God's work. And when I say God's work, I mean something that gives Him the credit. But my struggle has been, Lord, show me what you want to do, and I'll do it if it works with my plans and my ambitions, and if it's convenient to my finances and the plans I have for myself, then I'll probably consider it. But God doesn't really work like that. God does not negotiate His will. And we want God to show us His plan for us, and then we want to have a say in it. But guess what? The struggle that we all have is that we want to do this thing and we want God, we really want to be obedient, but we also want to have a say in it. And like I said, this is my story. And I've learned where I have to just say, Lord, I'm going to be obedient to you. I want fear to go away, my insecurities, my concerns, and I want to just surrender all to you. We must say like Moses at the burning bush, Lord, here I am. I love the lines of the worship song by Ron Canola that says, if you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. If you can use anything, take my hands, my feet, touch my heart, Lord, speak through me. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. I'm learning to say, Lord, whatever you want me to do, I'm ready to obey. And I'm inviting you on a journey of faith with me as I navigate my way through trusting God and allowing God to bring me into a place of destiny. And he summoned the crowd, Jesus says, and his disciples, saying, if anyone wants to come after me, let him lay down everything that he wants and let him take up the cross and follow me. And as we go through this new year, let's just do that. Let's surrender and walk right into that destiny that God has for us.
Oh, good word, Junior. You know, I think I'm guilty of that as well. So God, I really want to do your will and I really want to do all of this stuff, but can it just fit into my schedule and what I feel comfortable doing?
Or yeah, Lord, like as Junior said, Lord, I want to know your will.
Yeah.
And he shows us, you got anything else?
Are you sure? God, I don't want to go to this country, this country, and this country, but I really want to do your will. We do that all the time, but you know, God surprises us.
And I think he smiles, Maggie. Yeah. I'm going to get them where I want to get them. Yeah.
So we hope that you're going to have great new journeys and challenges this year. I know that God takes all of us on those journeys, and we just do it with freedom, knowing that he is in control. Thanks for joining us today. Again, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for your ongoing support of Crossroads, a member of the Canadian Council of Christian Charities. You can write to Crossroads, P.O. Box 5100, Burlington, Ontario, L7R 4M2.
Castle is the first video streaming service that's been created to serve you, with high-quality, faith-based media for all ages and a live 24/7 prayer chat. Castle features Christian TV shows, documentaries, teaching series, and kids content. Start your free 30-day trial of Castle and discover this quality Christian resource made for your entertainment and your spiritual growth. Sign up now at intothecastle.com.
Anger can lead to a hardened heart, but forgiveness can lead to freedom. The Bible encourages us not to let anger get the best of us, but let us overcome anger through forgiveness. If anger's got a hold of your heart, call our 24/7 prayer lines at 1-866-273-4444 or visit crossroads.ca/247prayer. Anytime, anywhere, we're here for you.